Hello, everyone. I'm Chuang. Today, let's draw a giraffe. The giraffe is a representative among African animals, and it is the highest land animal. It could reach 5 meters high. It has a very long neck and for long limbs. Its trunk is very small, which looks like a small square. And on its body, there are very complicated patterns. On its head, there are 2 horns, and 2 ears, which are bigger than its horns. These 2 ears are very sensitive. Then its eyes are very big, but because of the strong sunlight, its eyelids are also very thick. Its eyes are always in a hooded state. It has another feature, that is, between its eyes, there is an undeveloped horn, something similar to a cone. We need to pay attention to this point. Without drawing it, the picture would look very weird. In addition, its mouth is very long. At the anterior of its mouth, it has well-developed long and thick lips. The above are the features of its face. When drawing a giraffe, we must pay attention to the proportion of its body. Its neck is long, so are its legs. Before drawing, we must do the composition first. When composing the sketch, the first step is to determine the proportions of its various parts, otherwise, it will be easier to draw the neck long or the legs short. This is the mistake that is very easy to make. Okay, now let's start to draw this giraffe. The giraffe is a tall and slim animal with a complicated body structure. So let's first draw some loose lines to locate each body part on the paper. First of all, we draw its head about here, where we need to draw a very small rectangle in the picture. We need to draw the front of its mouth narrow. Its neck is slightly curved and the root of its neck is about in the middle of the picture. Let's put it here. The upper part of its neck is thin, and the lower part is thick. The giraffe's belly is about here. As its legs are long, we need to leave enough space to draw them. The elbows of its legs are about here, followed by its forearms. The length of the giraffe's forearm is basically the same as that of its carcass. Here are its toes. After finishing those parts, we draw its hind legs. First, let's draw its pelvis, and this is about its hip height. This is about the length of its thighs, and that of its shanks. We draw its feet about here, and then draw its toes. Among the 4 sections, the first 3 basically have the same length. We draw its hips until here. Thus, the general shape of this giraffe is determined. Next, we begin to draw details of each part. Its head is about this long. Let's first draw its long mouth. Its upper lip is long, resembling the camel's, which is tilting upward and in a smiling look. Its lower lip is shorter. Its face is a bit curved downward, and its nose is slightly arched. This eye is a bit curved downward too. Its ears are big, like this. From the above of its nose, we can see a little bit of its eye on the other side. This is the position of its upper eyelid. Between its eyes, there is a horn-like protuberance, which is an important distinguishing characteristic of the giraffe. Backward, there are its 2 horns, the tip of which is blunt, with some furs on them. On the other side, we can see a little bit of its ear. Its nostrils are very big and they are about here. Then, let's draw the giraffe's neck downward. Its neck is an S-shaped curve going very slowly. When we draw the back of its neck, the lower we go, the thicker it is, and this position is the thickest. Let's draw downward like this, and the root of its neck is very thick. The back of its neck is its mane made of short hairs. Let's draw the shape of the mane. Next, let's draw the part which can best show the giraffe's characteristic, its shoulders. We draw its scapulae extending forward, and a piece of its shoulders protruding upward. Its scapulae resemble a square in an inclined position. Its upper arms are very short, so we draw them like this. This is equivalent to the human elbow. We draw its forearm, which resembles the human forearm. This part is equivalent to the human wrist, and this one the human palm. The giraffe walks with its foot tiptoeing. Then let's draw its toes and hoof, and its carpus, toes and hoof on the other side. Leave such a space between its back and the rest of its body. Let's draw its hind legs now. This is the thigh, the lower one is the shank, and here is the knee. Its rump is tilting down. Its pelvis is tilting downward, and then its thighs. There is a loose, thin connection between the thigh and the shank, so we connect them down with a curved line. This is like the joint of human heels, the shank, and this is like the sole of human feet. Here are its toes, its hoof, and it goes the same on the other side. The front of the shank, and the back of the shank. We can draw the ankle part a little sharper, making it more powerful. This is the other foot. Next, let's draw its back. Its back extends downward along the base of the neck, slightly curved. There is a high point here. A relatively high bone exists at the base of the tail, and the tail goes in this direction diagonally downward. Then the end of the tail has a relatively long tuft. Next is its belly. The lowest point of its belly is in this position, which is relatively sagging, and the sides are tucked upwards. And it goes the same in the front. Now the shape of the giraffe's body is finished. Next, let's draw its patches. There are several patterns on giraffes. Different species has different patterns, among which, one species has the patches like a lot of maple leaves spliced together. The most common is this kind of regular square patches. Let's start with an easier one. Each square represents a dark color, and the interior is dark. In between these squares are the white stripes. These are basically some larger squares. Each giraffe has a unique coat pattern, so don't worry about the positions of these patches. However, there are still some changes in the patches on its body. For example, the patches from the root of the neck to the shoulders are relatively large, while the patches on the rump are smaller. Let's draw the larger patches first. The patches on the shoulders can be drawn very large, and the patches on the back are also relatively large, with some small ones interspersed in the middle. These patches are arranged like pebbles, with the gaps in between as uniform as possible. The patches on the rump are relatively large. After drawing the patches on the back, the patches on other parts gradually get smaller, and then become devoid after reaching the abdomen. The patches on the limbs are very small and numerous. We don't have to draw them all, just make it like that the patches are gradually fading away. Now let's draw the patches on its face, and the patches on the neck gradually get smaller. There are some very small patches on its face. Okay, like this, we've finished drawing this giraffe.